Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma, and today we are meeting at the Rochester, New Hampshire cemetery. I cruised around the cemetery on the other side of the street, and now I'm over here. It looks like this might be the older side of the cemetery, I'm not sure. The side I went on first has paved roads, and this side doesn't, which I find interesting. This one has pillars that are like so tall. Look at this one behind me. You can see behind me. Do you see that pillar back there? No. But I'm like facing the sun, so I can't do that. I am here visiting a friend, and I had a little time to kill, so I thought I'd stop at the cemetery and check it out. So I don't know a lot about it, but I will put the specs up on the screen. It is windy, so I'm sure that the vocals are all crazy. But one thing that I was noticing as I was driving around is over here on the East Coast in Boston and in New Hampshire, or Massachusetts and in New Hampshire, I've been noticing that there's a ton of like the same kind of references on this coast as there is on the West Coast where I live. And so it was really fun last night. A friend and I ate at a restaurant called Off the Hook in Quincy, Massachusetts. And I have an Off the Hook just like 3 miles from my house on the Oregon coast, which is really fun. And what I'm noticing walking around the cemetery is that there are family names that are the same as the family names that we have in our cemetery in Newport, Oregon. I have no idea if they're any like relation, but I'm just finding it really interesting that we have like the same street names and same references, and now we have the same family names, and it just makes me curious if there was a lot of people from this specific region of the East Coast that ended up in Newport, Oregon. Like an overwhelmingly amount of names. Like I could have been driving through the cemetery in Newport with different monuments. It's just really interesting. Anyways, I'm going to take a walk around. We're going to take a couple photos. I only have about 20 minutes before I need to go meet my friends. So yeah, we're just gonna see what this side of the cemetery has to offer. So the first one I'm looking at is this, which I saw from the back side. It's a beautiful statue of a woman. I can't tell who she is. It looks like she might have an anchor on her back side. Let's see if I can get around the other side of her. This is, well, it's a family plot, but it looks like the oldest burial was in 1887 at Dr. James Farrington. Oh. We'll come back to that one. Lots of really well-marked pathways that makes it a lot more comfortable to walk around in. So it's like, you know where it's okay to walk. You could see that the burial plots were kind of like raised up, and then there's like big wide spots where the hearse or family or cars or maintenance can get through. But on each side, little tiny raised walls, and then the family plots go in. Like this one has a similar marking all the way around. Say this is one family plot, and then, you know, it continues on. There's kind of like separations, like, okay, here's one family, etc. This one is really well done with like the little curved curbs and everything. 1863, 1859, Tamsin and Palmer. There's another view of that pillar. Wow, super tall. I've got an 1857 over here. See, they used to denote if the family paid for perpetual care or not. Perpetual care just means that they paid a little extra to ensure that their family lots would be cared for by the cemetery grounds keepers into perpetuity. Not all cemeteries have perpetual care, and the cemetery that I used to manage, only part of their land was dedicated to perpetual care. So something to take note of if you're looking to buy a lot somewhere, if you want the maintenance to fall to your generation after generation of family, or if you want to just leave it in care of the cemetery. It really just means basic maintenance. It doesn't mean like, perfection or anything. Because there's never really enough money for that, unfortunately. It's a beautiful wood back there. So I've been in the Boston area for about 10 days, and it has been just an absolute whirlwind. I was here on a work retreat, and it was beautiful and amazing. I got to meet all my coworkers because I work remote, and we're all over the country. We all gathered together. It's really great. And it also included our clients and community, so that was really fun to meet a bunch of people. But I just didn't have time to stop and enjoy very many cemeteries like I had hoped. But now that I have the lay of the land and understand the routine of the retreat and all of that, my hope is that next year we can visit a lot more cemeteries. The East Coast, I swear, I'm like just driving down any street and I see 4 or 5 cemeteries. They're just like, it's been populated for so long over here that there's just so many burial grounds. So I didn't really get a chance to do any kind of research or know, like, for sure I wanted to see this particular cemetery or another one. But I did what I could. I kind of got a couple of shots of a cemetery in Salem, but I was with a couple of friends who had completely different ideas of what they wanted to do. Of course, I wasn't going to drag them along with me, looking at all the gravestones. So hopefully next time I'll have a little bit more time to just take my time and go through some cemeteries. But it's been really, really beautiful to see the cemeteries here on the East Coast have such rich history. Of course, they have really different kind of monuments, and they've all got really beautiful landscaping, which is what really tugs at my heart. They really, really care for their cemeteries, even though they're very old. And there's all this really beautiful plantings, and even the ones that clearly have not quite as much money as, like maybe downtown Boston or something. They're still really well cared for, and they still have really beautiful trees planted among them. So it's really fun to watch, and it's really fun to see. see, this says David Legro died in 1852, and his wife Joanna died in 1848. Not husband, friends, nor children dear, nor earth's full charms could hold her here. Her Savior called, she meekly said, I'm ready, Lord, and to whom she fled. Oh, these are all Legros. Ooh. Really interesting. They've got like this whole, looks different than the rest of the cemetery. And then I'm noticing these like 3 giant boulders stacked here. So it's 1922, 1997, 1934, so not super old. That is huge. It's so tall. Oh, I wonder how tall that is. It's pretty intense. This one is super cool. It's like a huge circle. Neat. It makes it turn around all the way around if you were driving. And then that sweet little house across the street is part of the cemetery. I'm assuming it was either a church or a schoolhouse. I mean, it looks more like a schoolhouse to me, but or maybe it was just always a funeral home. I don't know. So this is their J. Wentworth, Jonathan Wentworth and Mary. Jonathan in 1897. You can't see Mary and Rebecca, but what I'm seeing here is Jonathan and Rebecca. Mary just has their first names on there. This says Father S.D. Thurston. Really beautiful. And then that has like these gorgeous big beefy pillars. Let's go look at it. Oh my goodness. It takes some skill. How do they install that? Oh, and they've got the lawn crypts. I'll get back to the car and we'll look at the back side of that lady that we were looking at and hopefully see if we can figure out who she is. But that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's like short and sweet, and I appreciate you hanging out with me while I just kind of cruised through a cemetery in New Hampshire. It's been really, really fun, and I can't wait to do more of this, where my trips are actually dedicated to walking through cemeteries and not with other agendas attached. I would love to have spent all 10 days just like walking through cemetery after cemetery and talking about the history there. So make sure that you're liking and subscribing to my channel so that someday I can make those dreams come true. And if we ever get there, it'll be all because of you. So thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.